I'll be cool with that. Are we recording?
We are recording.
Hello, everybody. Who's ready to retire? Oh, I am, yeah. I guess so, because you're here. So my name is Ann Bassoni. I am a therapist with the Work Plus Life Connections program, and I hope you all know that you get 5 free sessions with a licensed social worker, and we have 4 therapists in our program, and we meet with people about all sorts of issues, from mental health issues to grief or family parenting. The only thing we don't do is couples counseling. I tried that once and they're all divorced, so I thought I'd stop doing that because I haven't been trained. So I do know a thing or two about preparing for retirement. And what I have found when I've met with people is that often we are really focused on money, the financial issues of retirement. And that's natural. I mean, I think that's one of the important things that we need if we're going to retire. But what I'd like to talk to you all today about is the emotional preparation and what you might anticipate in retirement on an emotional level, so that you all can start thinking about that too. If you have questions along the way, please feel free to put them in the chat room, and we will answer them as we go or at the end, but we will get to them. Terry's going to be keeping track of that for me. So here we go. So today's retirement, there's a lot of issues that we face, not just the financial ones, like I said. You know, it changes our relationships within our marriages or friendships or our family in general. Sometimes as we age, we have more caregiving responsibilities for our parents, or even for ourselves. We might need some caregiving. There's also the impending loss of an important role that we had as a worker. You know, we might lose some independence. There's some grief of, I'm not working anymore. What do I do? What is my role? You know, people are living often on a fixed income, and retirement's a little bit different today because we are living longer than we have ever lived before, and people are also retiring later. So there's some new issues that come up with that. And the other thing is that families are spread out a lot more frequently now all over the place. So you don't have that nuclear unit to help you out all the time. So most experts agree that they suggest that you start planning the emotional retirement part 2 to 5 years before you retire. And you want to look at all the big things in our lives. Are you know, your health, your physical activity? Are you going to be working part-time? Are you going to volunteer? Are your financial issues in order? These are the things you want to start thinking about and talking to your significant other or your children or other family members and friends, so that they have an idea of what you're thinking about. And it's a good idea to be able to bounce off our friends and family our thoughts and feelings about retirement. And I think the important thing here is that you be aware of what you're giving up when you retire. You know, one of the big things is we lose our structure and routine often. I mean, I think some of us have seen that as we're working at home, and that structure of getting up at this time, you know, getting ready, getting in the car usually or on our bike, and we're going to work and we all that. And now it's most of us, a lot of us are getting up and we're at our desk. So that's not, that has changed some, but that's also something that you want to think about when you retire. You also are not going to have that day-to-day contact with your colleagues that for most people is, you know, who really enjoy their colleagues. There's some who probably think, great, I'll never see that colleague again. And they're okay with that. But also the big thing is your identity. Your identity as a worker is going to change. And I think for a lot of people, that's really a difficult transition if you're not prepared for it. So like I said, what work usually provides is structure. Oftentimes we have some pride in what we do and the job we're doing, and if we help people and, you know, bringing home an income and things like that. A lot of us like the challenge that our job might bring. We talked about, I just mentioned social contact goals. And sometimes when we're working, we feel like we have a worth because we have a purpose, it feels like. Let's see. One thing I want to prepare you for that some people have felt that I talked to, because retirees are also eligible for our program to come and talk to us. And they call it the honeymoon effect. A few months into retirement, a lot of people are feeling a little down, a little depressed, because like I said, you don't have the structure. You're wondering, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? There's some boredom if you're not prepared. So we don't always know what this new life is. We can imagine it, but if you think about it, we now have an extra 40 hours at least a week to fill, because that's what we were putting into work. And if you put in any type of commute or things like that, all of a sudden you have all this time. Like I think about my mom who commuted an hour to work in California. And so that was 2 hours of her day that she spent on the road, plus she was gone all day. And when she retired, she really struggled for a while trying to figure out what she was going to do. She was a teacher, so she was used to interacting with people all the time. She was used to talking to young people and really enjoyed that sense of teaching kids and helping them learn. So she had a bit of a dip, and I've seen that in other people that there's some feelings of just kind of, what is my purpose now? If I'm not a worker, what is my purpose? The other thing that happens is if you have a significant other or other people in the house, suddenly you're spending all day with them. And for some people, the idea is great. And for other people, they think, oh my gosh, that's a lot of time. And if you all are not prepared for that, there's going to be a problem, because I think some of us like to spend all our time with our significant other. I would not be one of those people. I think I would go nuts if I had to spend 24/7 with a significant other. There are other people that don't mind. We each go our own way, and then we come back, and sometimes we do things together. So kind of figuring that out and seeing what that's going to be like. And then there's also the loss of that daily contact with your work friends. I think most of us enjoy the company of some of our work family, and not having that on a daily basis changes things. And these are all things that lead into some of the feelings of depression. So we're going to talk now really about the emotional issues of retirement. And there's a lot, and I've highlighted them, some of them that I think are most important. I call this first one is the party over. What's one of the first things when we go to a party or we're out and about, one of the first things people say to us is what? What do you do? What type of work do you do? Where do you work? Things like that. And now if you don't have that answer, if you have the answer of retired, sometimes, that can make people feel old or useless or without a purpose. And the other thing to think of, so we lose that role. And I keep talking about that, and that's really important. We figure out what is our new role and what is our purpose going to be. The other thing is, are you part of groups? Are you involved with any church or synagogue or community or any type of group like that? And within that, what is your role? Like I think of, because all of our roles have these characteristics and expectations. And I was working with a lady who, she really liked gardening. And so that was something she helped out with at a place in town. And she did it on Sunday. She'd go and she'd weed, and she really enjoyed it. And she showed up for their meetings and everything. And when they found out she was retiring, they wanted her to take charge. They wanted her to be the leader, to get everybody to come in and do this. And she knew immediately, that's not my role. I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to be here on specific days at specific times. I don't mind helping, but I don't want to be in charge. So she knew that was not her purpose. It was something she enjoyed, but not something that she wanted to lead. So we do get to the sense of purpose. And, most of us are motivated by a purpose of what we do or who we're helping or how we're involved. And we find some fulfillment in these activities that we involve ourselves in. And, I know for myself as a social worker, a therapist, I am motivated by helping people. I'm motivated by seeing people change and grow and start to feel better. So I know that one thing that's going to be important when I retire is that I still have an element of that in my life. So what are you going to be when you retire? And because that's going to influence our behavior. It shapes some of our goals, and it offers us a sense of direction and meaning. And that can vary. And I think we often think of retirement as the end. It's the end of our work. But if I would challenge you to think of it more as kind of the start of a late career transition, because there are people that go in to doing volunteer work for their hobbies or the things that they're really passionate about that they couldn't get paid for and survive, so they worked and they did this on the side. So now they're able to devote as much time as they want or as little time as they want to things. One exercise I ask people who are getting close to retirement is to write down 10 to 20 things that they're scared about, that give them, that cause some fear or dread in retirement. And, you take that list and start asking yourself, what can I begin doing? And develop a plan. So if someone dreads that they are not going to be seeing their work colleagues, then because usually the things that we fear are the things that we fear losing, the things that we will no longer have. And that might include a role, it might include people. So what is your plan to replace that or get that feeling somewhere else if it's something that you fear that you're going to lose? And also to think about what's the meaning you put on those different issues. Relationship dynamics, I could spend probably 10 hours on this at least, because this is a big one. And oftentimes, I see people maybe whose partner has already retired in their home, and I hear people say, they don't have any other friends, and they wait all day for me to come home, and then I'm expected to entertain them. And they haven't done anything around the house because that wasn't their role before. So it starts creating this tension. So it's really important to start talking about when I retire, when we retire, how are we going to split up the chores that we used to, because maybe that split up that you used to have is not working anymore. Maybe you're used to doing a lot of the inside chores and your partner retires. Can they do some of those while you're at work? So if you don't talk about it, then it's going to be difficult. It's going to cause some problem. And again, the activities that you do together or separate. I think more often than not, what I have found is that men have not as many friends outside of work. And so I often will hear their spouse talking about feeling like they're responsible for their well-being, for their fun, for their entertainment. So it's important to talk about, I know when I retire, I'm going to want this much time by myself, and maybe we can do this, and talk and make that a purposeful conversation, because these aren't often conversations that just come up out of the blue while you're eating dinner. So you really have to make time to talk about this. And, if you are a person, I had one lady who she liked to watch the morning news, and she was used to, when her husband was working, he left really early so she could watch it very quietly. And when he was home, he started talking all the time during the morning news. And she got more and more frustrated until she finally said to him, "Here's what's going on." And he understood. So then he realized that's her time. I just need to let her have that time and do my own thing. But it's one of those things that if you don't say anything about, it can lead to resentment, and hold on to that resentment is not healthy for us. Also, are there any caregiving tasks that you are going to assume? Sometimes, if we are together with someone who's older, they might need more caretaking. Or if our spouse, our partner, has some chronic illnesses, we might have to be doing more care. And are we prepared for that? What does that look like? Is there funds available if you need respite or in-home help? And these are things, to talk about. I have a godmother, and she and this man, they lived together for, I don't know, 50 years or so. And they both had secured a spot at an assisted living place. And I asked them, I said, well, what if one of you has to go and the other is not ready, or doesn't meet the criteria? And they just stopped because they hadn't even thought about that. So it's almost like you have to, and this is where talking to other people who have retired can be very helpful about what things popped up that you didn't expect. Because in their mind, they're like, we've lived together all this time. We'll go to this assisted living at the same time, when actually she was a lot healthier than he was. And so the chances are that he might go before she needed to. And did she want to go? So I think I was glad I asked the question. I hope they talked about it. I don't know. But otherwise, the time comes, and sometimes these decisions are really hard, or they're difficult decisions, and emotions are running high, and it can be harder to talk about and think about what we need and want at those times. So planning ahead can be really helpful. And then meeting people. This is really important, especially for people who live alone. Oftentimes people who live alone, one of their big fears is loneliness in retirement. And, so how do you meet people? How do you spend your time? For a lot of single people, when you go to work, that can be the place where you get your emotional connections, your socialization, and you need to figure out, when that's gone, what else are you going to do? Especially if you're someone who gets nervous going out, or it's hard for you to meet new people. If you start planning, before you retire, these are things that you can start to work on, and maybe develop a group or join a group, or figure out how you're going to meet people when you do retire. For others, there's a fear of mental decline. I think dementia, Alzheimer's, forgetfulness, things that go with aging is a huge fear. And I don't know if there's there might be a lot of research. Let me just say, I don't know. But I do know that, if you can exercise and stay healthy, that might be helpful. If you take classes and you keep learning, keep your mind occupied, play strategic games, do art, work on puzzles, and we're going to talk more about volunteering. But, I think the more that you can stay engaged and use your brain, hopefully that's going to help you stay alert and on track. So volunteering, and I kind of have a soapbox here because it's something I feel very passionate about. And I think that it is one of the most important things that we can do at any point. And to me, volunteering is a way that we stay engaged. We can find those groups or those causes or things that we're really passionate about, and now we have the time to devote to them. So we can go as much and help, we can go and help as much as we want or as little. And that's the good thing about volunteering, is often we can set our own schedule. There are going to be people who want a regular schedule. There's going to be others who say, well, I travel sometimes, or I do this sometimes, so I don't always want a fixed schedule. You get to set up your schedule if it works for whoever you're going to volunteer for. It also helps you to remain relevant, being a part of a bigger group or a bigger cause or something bigger than ourselves. And in doing that, often we're going to be spending time with people. And even if it's not time spent talking with others, sometimes that working together towards a common goal can hold off some of the loneliness we feel, because we feel like we're making a difference. We feel like we are helping other people and we are contributing, and that makes us feel more a part of society and the world around us, which is important, I think. How are we doing on time? Okay. Also, volunteering can add to the purpose and the meaning in your life. You feel like, again, that you're getting up and you're doing something, that you are a part of something bigger than yourself. And it also keeps you visible. It gets you out of the house usually. It helps you get to know other people. You might, in volunteering for one group, find out about some other groups that you're interested in. So it does all of that. So really consider volunteering, and if that's something that you would like to be a part of or to do. Okay. So again, this fear of loneliness, and one thing to consider is, are you a high energy person or a low energy person? Are you a fairly mobile person or are you not? Because if you are, say, a high energy, high mobility type of person, the activities you might get involved in might be more active, like hiking or biking or running groups or things like that. As opposed to, if you're low energy or low mobility, more you are going to be the type that likes to play cards or bunco or meet people for meals and things like that. So get kind of a gauge of what kind of things you'd like to do. And building social networks, I think, is a difficult one. It's especially difficult if we wait until we're retired, because a lot of the research says that if we are involved with things before we retire, we are more likely to continue to be involved with things after we retire. And this is a hard one to swallow, because a lot of times we think we don't have a whole lot of time to be doing other activities or getting involved in other things. And, even if it's once a month or something like that, that you get together with the group, it's important to have that foundation. I think one of the things that helped my granny a lot was that she had always gone to Sunday school. That group had always been together, same church, same people. And when they continued to go to Sunday school, but then they started meeting outside of church too, to do things, because she was already part of that group. She felt comfortable enough to say, to call one of them or call a group of them and do something. The other thing is, taking classes can be a great way to stay involved and meet other people. Maybe it's something you want to learn, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities that UK presents. But, if, like, I always think of the example of the UK for a while, and I think they still do it, the music school was offering free piano lessons to individuals over 65. So, you show up once a week, you do this class, you're learning something new, and you're meeting other retirees. So it's kind of a win-win situation. And you can look at all sorts of places. Like I think of the senior center. I mean, I don't know how many of you have looked, and maybe not many of you, since you're not, old enough yet, but they have a ton of things to do. I mean, they have art classes, they have reading groups, they have travel groups, they serve meals, they have a bike that you can rent, or a three-wheeler, and ride around the place. So it's a ton of activities out there. They have a great new building behind Southland Church on Richmond. It's back there. It's a beautiful building. They have a library. So there's a lot that you can do there, just to hang out or to go and take a class. One of my friends teaches pottery out there, and she says it's packed all the time. People love to come and do that. It's just a way, again, of staying involved, being visible, being seen. And again, we go back to the volunteer as a way of tackling loneliness. So the other thing is the Office of Lifelong Learning at UK, affectionately known as OLLI. And that is for UK folks who've retired or are interested in learning about a topic. And they have a handful of classes that they offer periodically or by quarter, I think, that you can sign up to take. And it's a great learning opportunity. It keeps your mind active. It might be a topic that you're really interested in or that you haven't heard of that you'd like to learn more about. So it's a great way to get involved. And I was looking at their website, and they've made some accommodations for COVID, but they are still offering classes, so it would be a great thing to look at. I told you about the Lexington Senior Center. And this Covia Well Connected, I love this. My brother used to work for Covia, and this is out in California. And it is a program for people all across the United States. And they offer groups. And I mean, you talk about a list of things. There's language, there's history, there's reading, there's social issues, politics. I mean, any number of groups that you can sign up to be a part of, and you participate through telephone or computer, and it's free. And if you don't see something that you like, you can even volunteer to teach something. So if you're someone who enjoys teaching, enjoys talking to people, this would be a great opportunity to put together something and help teach other people. So there's that. And then along the lines of learning, I think one of the things that's really important is along also the lines of volunteering, but perhaps that you love the field of work that you were in and you want to mentor people. That would be a great thing to do, to offer your skills of mentorship to help somebody else further their career. It keeps you relevant and vibrant, so that might be something you want to do, and help people. You know, I think, you know, one of the things that you'll need to be planning before retirement is, what are those groups that you're really passionate about? Like, I love working with kids. So I know that if I were retiring next week, I would be maybe doing the volunteer to read to kids at lunchtime in the schools. Or, you know, I have been mentoring a young lady for, I don't know, 10 years now, and that's been so fulfilling and so great. And there's a lot of kids that need mentors or people to take care of them, and not take care of them, but to offer them opportunities they might not get. If you really love animals, there's, you know, all sorts of rescue organizations. You know, we live in the horse capital of the world, so maybe you want to do something with horses. So start researching now. That's the big takeaway that I hope you all are getting from this. So that's kind of a quick overview of some of the things that happen or that you want to have planning. You want to be planning before retirement. And like I said, you are eligible for 5 free visits if you want to talk about this further. The visits with my program are all confidential. They don't go in your personnel file. They don't go in your medical records. So if you would like to talk some more, please contact me. I don't know, at this time, does anybody have questions? Kim is asking if there's a site that lists volunteer opportunities, and there is. It is through United Way. You can sign up. If you type up volunteer opportunities in, and let's say we're all in Lexington. I know we all aren't, but if we are, volunteer opportunities in Lexington, it'll take you to a list. And I wish I could remember offhand the one I get, because it sends you can say, here are the things that I'm interested in. And like once a month, I get a thing that says, here's some volunteer opportunities you might be interested in. And you can go to that, or you can go and look for maybe a one-time thing that you want to do. But United Way definitely has one. I know that if you go to United Way volunteer opportunities. What are some other questions that you guys have? Well, I talked really fast, didn't I? One of the other things I didn't mention was for single people or for couples. They have a lot of trips now that you can take with a group. Like I know my granny and her sister-in-law, my aunt, their husbands both died before they did. And they did a lot of overnight trips or day trips. And they would meet, at this time it was through the church. They'd meet at the church and they'd all get on the bus and they'd go and they would spend some time. And sometimes it was a weekend thing. And they could do that because they didn't have as many responsibilities, and it was one of the reasons my granny said she didn't want a pet, because she liked to go and she didn't want to have to worry about somebody watching her animals or anything like that. So, so that's something to look up, and you can look up senior trips. Google's a great thing. And here's how I use Google. If I hear a phrase in my head, I just type it, and I find all sorts of stuff that way. Charlotte, you were a little late. Oh my goodness. Wellness opportunities. Thank you for retirees at UK. Yes, retirees are eligible for the health and wellness classes that they offer. And I think and even right now during COVID, they're offering them online, and you can be a part of those. Anything from yoga to Tai Chi to aerobic things. You are still eligible. If you'd like to pay to use the gyms, you can do that. So those kind of things, again, once we're back on campus, once we can all join together again in person, it's a great way to come together and maybe you see people that you haven't seen in a while, you get your exercise going. And I don't know about you all who haven't been on campus, but I've kind of missed it in that I get energy from seeing the kids walking around on campus, the young people, and being on campus, it feels like here's a place where we learn. And I think that helps us, when we're retired, to come back and soak up some of that energy. Let's see. Oh yeah, we are recording this, and I believe Terry will figure out how to put it online. And she said it'll be online next week.
Yeah, next week.
Mm-hmm. Next week. And will everybody that signed up get access or get an email about where to find it?
I'm not certain about that. I don't believe there's a follow-up email, but if you go back to the retirement page on the benefits website, you'll have all the videos will be posted there. The only one we couldn't record is Social Security.
Okay. So if you go back to the retirement where you found information about this, there should be the link. Mm-hmm. And if it's okay with you, Terry, I might put it on the Work Life YouTube page.
That's great.
Okay.
If anybody has trouble, they could just message me.
Yeah, flutter with questions and things that you need. Linda is asking, it seems like scams are targeted at older retirees. What are your recommendations for not getting caught up in a scam? Oh, I got one of those calls last night about Social Security, and I needed to call and give my information or I was going to be prosecuted. Thankfully, I'd seen it on the news, and I'm pretty leery anyway. But I'd seen on the news not to do that. And here's what I've decided lately. Every time the phone rings, I don't care anymore, I answer it. And I just kind of mess with them a little bit. And I know it's their job and you shouldn't be super mean or anything, and I'm not. But I just want to find out what they're calling about. So this one was a scam. But I would say always talk to somebody else before you do. Like if somebody says, we need you to call this number, write down the number, talk to somebody that you trust, maybe even check with Better Business Bureau or the police to see, have there been any reports that this is a scam? If they're asking for money, don't give them money. I think, if it's a charitable organization, I would ask how you can give online or something like that, and then you can check. You know, my mom, I think it humbles her to have to ask me things, or my brother questions, and you know, I just said, Mom, I'm 53 and I still ask people questions. I like to double check and make sure I'm doing things safely and that it's okay. So don't worry about asking. So talk to your kids, talk to those people you trust, talk to if you have any faith-based connection, you might talk to somebody there. But my big thing is always wait. Don't feel like you have to do anything right at that moment, because nobody's going to call you to tell you that you've been arrested. The funniest ones are those that say, I've inherited millions, but I need you to send me money so I can get it. Don't do those. We know this. Don't do those. Even if they call you honey and dear in their greeting, don't do it. But that's a good question. Medicare opportunities for mental health issues for retirees. I do not know that information. Terry, do you know where they might go for that?
Medicare covers mental health counseling. I do know that.
Okay.
And then if they have a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan, that would help offset their out-of-pocket costs.
Okay. And again, that's something to find out before you retire. If you are someone who has a chronic illness, mental illness, or you just like to check in with a therapist every now and then, find out before and find out if you're going to have to switch people, or if you see a psychiatrist, are you going to be able to continue with them? These are things you're going to want to know in at least a year before you retire, so that you have those things set up. And because there are very few psychiatrists in the United States, and if your insurance changes or you go to Medicare and it's not covered, it can be hard to find another one on a short notice. So do go in for planning on that. I appreciate that question. iTunes cards. I'm not sure what that's about, Linda. Or iTunes cards. I tell folks to take their cut out of my inheritance and send me the rest. I guess they are taking all of it because I've still never received anything. Yes. See, these are the fun things you can do with these people that hassle you. That cracks me up. And any other questions or comments or things that maybe you're nervous about, or maybe you're even excited about for retirement? But I know that at UK there are some good benefits for retirements for retirees. And on the mental health thing, as a UK retiree, you will always get the 5 free visits with my program per fiscal year. So that's always there. Let's see. Any other questions? Terry Brown, I see you. Does UK still have the Donovan Scholars Program? I believe they do.
They do.
They do. And so do Donovan Scholars or the Ollie program. I mean, it's great to retire from the university because they know the importance of learning. See, Terry Brown loves me. I'm glad somebody does. Let's see. What else? What else you guys got? How much time do we have left, Terry? Oh, we've got like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
It's okay.
Oh, Bob says everybody loves me. That's good. Send me your retirement. I love it. I love it. You know, I think when I talk to people, though, I think the group that is most scared often are single folks, and trying to figure out how to live on their own, especially if they are worried about their mobility or their health, or if they, you know, or people who are really shy. The beauty of recognizing those type of issues early on is that if you are someone that's shy, we'll come talk to one of the therapists over in my program, and we will help you figure that out. How do you meet people? What's getting in the way of you meeting people? What do you need to work on? And you have time to work on it. Because like I said, if you have these things in place, before you retire. You're not going to have to scramble as much once that retirement comes. So do a lot of planning. And there is this sheet, and if anybody is interested, hold on a minute, let me look. That I give to people sometimes when I'm working. Terry, did you take that? I bet she did. Hang on, gang. I'll be right back here. 10 important questions. So some of the questions that you might ask yourself as you prepare for retirement are, what are my favorite ways to spend time? And write some of those down. My least favorite ways to spend time include, who are some of your favorite people? And are you still in contact with them? If you haven't been, maybe you need to start getting back in touch with them so that you can begin reestablishing contact. This one's great. If I could turn a hobby into a business, what would you do? Like, I love collecting rocks and crystals. And don't tell my mom, but I've gone a little crazy with it. And I've got enough crystals and rocks to start a business. And I was thinking, boy, wouldn't that be awesome when I retire, or maybe even now, just to, sell them on Etsy or sell them on Instagram. If you like doing, making jewelry, is that something you can turn into a business? If you are good at doing taxes, is that something that you can turn into a business? And granted, you can put as much or as little time as you want into it because you're retired. If I could do something just for fun, if you guys could do something just for fun, what would it be? Type it in the chat box. Let's see what people put. You could do something just for fun. Camping and hiking. Oh, while you guys are writing, the Donovan Scholar Program, Terry, can you explain that a little bit better than me?
Yeah, the Donovan Scholars Program, if you're over, I think it's 65, you can take classes at UK for free, or any university, I think. But it's free classes. They also have, through the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, which Ann talked about, you could be 50 years or older, and they have classes in the community. So it's not at UK, but they offer like Tai Chi, computer classes. They have a lot of social functions. I think the programs run out of the College of Public Health, but if you just go to the UK homepage and just type in Donovan's, you should be able to easily get to their website.
And I was looking at the Senior Citizen Center.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some of the things they have: active aging, balance basics, bar, beat, drum, boogie, brains, balance, and beyond, chair yoga, mindful moments, Tai Chi, billiards, bingo, hand and foot, intermediate bridge. I mean, book club, Friday Friends, history, art and music stuff, drumming, crocheting. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can get into.
And there's active older adults these are not frail older people that go to the senior center. They're very active.
And they serve lunch every day,
mm-hmm.
I believe.
They do.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here's a fear. I think Linda nailed it. Is that when we're used to having an income and suddenly we're very limited, or we're fixed on a fixed income, it is scary. I mean, I think that's why, the other part of this, the financial part, is important to address as well. But I know, if you're used to helping your kids out or helping a relative out sometimes because you have a little extra money, and suddenly you can't do that, that's when you start, again, having purposeful conversations and start practicing now not giving as much out, not giving as much to people. It is a difficult, and that's something that I talk to people about frequently, about how to make that switch. So that's something that you are not alone in experiencing. Oh yeah, driving through the mountains, take off in an Airstream. Fly fishing, excellent. Would you wear those big, what do you call them, waders? I love those, just out in the water, flicking those things. Cycling, hiking, kayaking, trip, scrapbooks. Oh, the electric bike. I'd love an electric bike. Long rail trail cycling trips. Ooh, I bet Becky's very healthy. Quilting, hiking, farming, yeah. Gem mining. Ooh, that would be awesome. Horseback riding, giddy up, yes. Yeah, so I mean, there's all sorts of things. And if these are things you enjoy and you're not doing them now, why not? What's getting in the way? And can you look at those barriers and do something about it? Because there's no reason to wait till we are totally retired to do. Most of the things on that list are things we can still do even though we're still at work. Let's see. I've always wanted to, and that's kind of one of those, bucket list type of things. Like, do you have a bucket list? I mean, I don't know how many of you have a bucket list, but of those things that you'd like to accomplish, I guess, before you kick the bucket. Is that why they call it the bucket list? I don't know, but it would make sense to me. So what are some of those things? And this one, and I remember my mom is a polio survivor, but she has post-polio syndrome, so she can't walk very well at all. But she said that the thing she regrets most is that in the summers, we used to drive from California to Tennessee to see my grandparents. We do that all the time. But she regrets that she didn't go to more national parks along the way when she was still mobile and able to do that. And that's a mobility issue. But she was a single parent, and that was a hard thing to do. But she regrets it now that she has the money and the time. Her body does not allow her to do it as much. Now, she's ornery and she's stubborn. I think there's a way we could do it, but she doesn't want to hear it. And probably if I took her, we'd end up in a fight and I'd leave her in the middle of the national park. Or you'd find my body in the middle of the national park. I don't know which, but I'm not sure it would be pretty. But anyway, think about those things you want to do that you can still do while you are mobile and healthy, semi-healthy, things like that. Let's not have regrets. And this is a big lofty one. If I could give one thing to the world, it would be, I'd give everybody my debt. I don't know that y'all want that or anything, but but a lot of times that's not a physical thing. A lot of times that's an emotional, a spiritual, a part of ourselves. There's a lot of things to consider, and I've gone through most of this kind of quickly because I still get nervous giving presentations, so I talk a little fast. But I'm happy to talk to you all, or if you have a question, you don't want to make an appointment, but you just have a question. Let's see here. I thought I put, that's my contact information, my email. Feel free to shoot me an email. And right now, all our visits are on Zoom, so you don't have to come into the office, which is kind of disappointing because I'm a hugger and I miss giving people hugs. But we're happy to talk over Zoom to you. And again, the visits are confidential and they're free, even better, they're free. So I thank you guys for taking time. Wait a minute, we might have something in the chat room. Can you make the list available? Hey, Terry?
Yes. How about we send the PowerPoint?
All right.
What about sending the PowerPoint to everybody?
I can send the PowerPoint, but also the list. Somebody was asking about the list.
List of the volunteer?
The volunteer list and the 10 important question list.
Okay. Like
I could put together a little packet, and we have it when they signed up, everybody gave us their address, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make that my priority. How about that?
Okay, and then we could just send it out to everybody who registered.
What's that?
We can send it out to everybody who registered.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you all are very sweet. Thank you. I do care about people, and I think that retirement is one of the next biggest moves that we make, folks, and we want to make the best of it because, work is not always easy. and life is not always easy. So we've got to find ways to take care of ourselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And if I can help anybody do that, I will. Feel free to make those appointments, but just reach out and talk to people, all right? So everybody, you keep shining. I don't know when this pandemic will be over, but it will be. And we will return to some semblance of something, and we'll all be ready. So it's wintertime. Get ready, gang. Keep shining. Peace out.
Thank you.
Terry. Did you stop recording, Terry?
Well, I'm trying.
Oh,
I think we just need to leave the meeting.
oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm having trouble, but I'll hit the leave button. Thank you.